Let's slow things down. Vanquish and Vengeance from Incantation, the long-running death and doom metal outfit. From Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Yeah, neat fun fact. Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Wait a second. CKN is from Pennsylvania. Holy crap, how close are they? Right in your own backyard? Not quite. A couple hours, but I guess you could call that right in your own backyard. It's close enough. It's something where, you know, if I got some addresses, I could just easily take a nice little day trip and be like, what's up? Now, Incantation is a band that's been around since the late 1980s, and they have certainly established themselves as one of the premier acts of the New York death metal scene. In fact, that was how they were sort of raised up in this whole game, and that is, they've definitely gained a significant following based around that. They are one of the most well-respected acts in that scene, and that still continues to this day, even though, you know, we're at this modern age where Taylor Swift sells 1.2 million records in 1 week. Yeah, Taylor Swift in an Incantation video. I'm pretty sure any death metal fan right now wants to devour her, and I don't mean her vagina. So, let's talk about this album. Let's talk about the doom and death metal that is Incantation. It definitely has that brutal sound to it, but it definitely also is able to maintain itself. The musicianship, the songcraft on this album definitely takes a tantamount importance on this record, mainly because they're able to do a couple of things that some traditional death metal bands aren't willing to do. That doom aspect that I mentioned whenever I was doing the description, that doom death metal thing, yeah, it's kind of important. They're able to slow things down. They're able to drop down their tuning and basically create the atmosphere of a crawl. Now, this isn't something that's totally uncommon, but you see it a lot more in traditional doom metal, or even in suicidal doom, rather, in death metal. Death metal usually has a lot of aggression, but I'm telling you stuff that you already know. Incantation, on the other hand, is able to use both of these aspects to their advantage. They're able to use the really dirty, gruff vocals to their advantage. They're able to use some that just sound downright god-awful, disgusting to their advantage, while they're also able to crawl with their guitars, with their bass, with their drums, in order to create a true atmosphere of desolation. One that definitely feels like the slow descent into hell. Not to mention, it also sounds like musically they're trying to basically be Celtic Frost on the Monotheist record. Everything except for the vocals, because, well, let's face it, Tom Gabriel Warrior Fisher is very, very, very difficult to emanate. But at the same time, this is a welcome change. This is something that's actually kind of nice. Remember how great that record was? Remember how it was really able to give you that darkened feeling without necessarily having to try all that hard? Well, this album's able to do it too. Yeah, they're able to throw in the death metal tendencies, they're able to throw in the aggression, they're able to throw in the speed every once in a while whenever necessary, but whenever the crawling happens, that's actually where this album starts to open up a little bit and really start to showcase its variety. There's a lot of different things that can be said for a band that's able to, and willing to show their variety, and do so in a dual fashion as this band has been able to do. So once again, 8 albums in, Incantation is constantly reminding us why they are one of the pinnacle bands of this scene. And even though 8 albums are all that's been released, there's actually been more than that. And let's face it, this has been their first album in quite some time, so maybe we should be giving them a hero's welcome. Maybe they should be getting the hero's welcome for reminding us what that scene was all about. For reminding us what one of the bands that was considered to be at the forefront of that scene, but perhaps has fallen off of the radar a little bit, well, was really able to do. Maybe it's time for Johnstown, Pennsylvania just to represent. Okay, now I'm making death metal sound like rap, so I think I better, well, wrap this up. Irony. I would have to give this album a solid 8.5 out of 10. There are moments where the crawling actually does hinder the music. For example, the very last track. 11 minutes is way too long for a track that basically goes pretty much nowhere. There's a lot of skidding, there's a lot of stalling, there's a lot of breaks being thrown on, but the song never comes to a complete stop. It just keeps moving and moving and moving. The advantages of this is that it does build a nice atmosphere, and the other tracks on this album, especially the longer tracks, surprisingly enough, this is just a weird case of irony too, are also probably some of the strongest. 7 minutes, 8 minutes, pretty good. 11 and a half minutes, please try again. Aside from that, though, long live the Kings. What do you guys think? Comments? Bueller? Attica?